Okay, so where are we at? Got the fuel pump installed. You guys will have to forgive me because I did do a test run on the bike, but my battery was dead. Well, pretty much dead. It was a 9%, and I didn't have any power, so I couldn't record the process. However, most likely we'll have to do it again because I do need to test it. Now, this bike was initially running at about 2000 RPM, which was really high. But however, after installing the SAS delete kit, which is basically a block of plate here and on the other side, and basically a resistor over here to tell the computer that the SAS is still connected, it's dropped to about 1800, 1600, which it sounds a lot better, but I still think that's quite high. Now, I've been on a forum for the last 30 minutes or so reading through, and you know, everyone seems to say theirs is idling at about 1600, 1800, which seems normal. However, apparently there's a way around this, because some KTM, some of the SMT 990 owners have gotten theirs to idle at about 1400, and they say the bike just sounds a lot better, and not to mention the acceleration has improved greatly. Now, what I gather from what I've been reading, or basically what the instructions and everyone else says, is because this is for the European market, so this bike was built for the Austrian market. Well, it was built in Austria for the European market, and what happens is, just like the SAS system that is only there to basically pass the emissions test, doesn't do anything to power, doesn't improve it, doesn't cut it. All it does is inject air into the exhaust to pass the emissions test. What KTM did is they have an EPC, which is an electronic power control, and what that does is in gear 2 and gear 3, the bike limits the acceleration electronically, and this is to pass the noise test in the UK, to pass the noise regulations test. Problem with this is somehow it affects the idling and just sends it way up there. Now, what everyone suggests that you do is down here we have a three-way connector. One of the wires is a neutral wire, and the other two go to gear 2 and gear 3. Now, what everyone says you should do is cut the wires going to gear 2 and gear 3. Now, somehow when you do this, it drops the idle to 1400, and it doesn't restrict acceleration between gear 2 and gear 3. So I've been reading through, just trying to figure out if this has any repercussions. Seems a good amount of people have done this, and no one has said anything bad about the engine going kaputski. So I'm going to give it a try and see if our acceleration, if our idle drops down. And as far as performance goes, when everything's back in place, I'll put the bike on the road and see what difference that makes. So I'm gonna have to do this off camera for now, but yeah, let's see what this does.